how would you like to make your first million? And today we have Russ, the founder of Russ Yeager Coaching, and we're gonna start the broadcast with the question that everybody wants to know: what are the 5 steps to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Hey, Harry, thanks for having me on, brother. And so that's a great question right out of the gates. I think it's maybe more like 500 steps. No, but narrowing it down to 5. So I'm a body, life transformation coach. And it's interestingly enough, I believe the 5 steps to getting to your first million is very similar to the 5 steps to transforming your body. So I tell my clients, and I do business consulting as well, but step number 1 is you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision that you're actually going to do it, and not just, well, that would be nice to make $1 million. I want to make $1 million. But, Tony Robbins talks about drawing a line in the sand, burning the boats where there's no other option. So you say that you're going to do it. A lot of people are looking for the how. What's the strategy? What's the technique? But they're not committed to actually reaching the goal. So it's making that commitment that I'm going to make $1 million. And then it's making, I think I just used the word commitment. It's the decision, but then really, and this is, I consider these still step 1, but making a commitment. Because a decision is you're saying you're doing it in a mind. A commitment, is where you actually take action and put action into it. Grant Cardone's one of my mentors. He says, where you put time and money in, that's when you've actually made a commitment. When you're telling people, which leads into step number 2. I'm a big believer in accountability. So having someone to hold you accountable, and even if you just tell the world, this is what I'm going to do, there's going to be some people that support you. There's going to be some naysayers. You got to ignore that, but you're putting it out there into the universe and into the world. Now, getting into step number 3 is you do have to have a strategy. And the good thing, getting to $1 million, if you just decide you do it and you go out with raw determination and you don't even know what you're doing, you can get to $1 million. $10 million company, $100 million company, no. But I'm a great example. I did it. So, story is, I'm 50 years old. I run circles around guys half my age, keep 6-pack abs 365 days a year. And I don't say that to brag. I say it for inspiration because I grew up chubby. I had to wear the husky pants. I freaking hated it. I always wanted to be like the fit guys in the magazines with the abs. And I got my undergrad master's in accounting, Harry. I was working for one of the big CPA firms, traveling, late night business dinners. I was working out. It's one thing if you're not putting in action, whether it's in your body or your business, of course you're not getting results. But if you're, again, whether it's your body or business, you're working out, you're trying to eat right, and you're, man, I'm still not getting results. Or you're trying to, do things in your business and you're still not getting results. That's frustrating. I got to a point where I was frustrated. I said, enough is enough. And so this leads into step number 3 is getting some help, getting a coach or getting a mentor. And so I couldn't do it on my own. So I hired a coach. I hired a guy named Skip LaCour, who's the top natural bodybuilder in the world, shredded, muscular, what I wanted to be. And I needed extra accountability. Going back to accountability. So I hired the coach for accountability, but I also entered a transformation contest with a deadline.
Wow. That's really powerful.
I'm going to get to $1 million. Are you going to do it in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 10 years, 20 years? Are you going to make $1 million over the course of your lifetime? That's not really that hard, right? So really having a clear defined deadline. And so I went from chubby to shredded. I won that contest and people started asking me, dude, what happened to you? And can you show me how to do it? And my fitness business was born. And I started my first I started doing online coaching. This was back in 2002, Harry. Now everybody's an online coach. I was kind of ahead of my time. And I was just kind of figuring it out as I went. I made a little bit of money. Then I found, opened a personal training studio in Atlanta. I have 2 now. I still have them today. I have an amazing team that runs those. But I went from $0, 0 clients, to $1 million in a little over a year. And I didn't really know what I was doing. This is my whole point. But I was determined that I was going to get there. And so that's the biggest thing. If you're going, again, you get into multiple millions of dollars, you need to have systems, you need to have team, you need to have processes. But to get to $1 million, you got to learn how to market and sell. really just how to sell. I mean, marketing is great, but if simple, I'm thinking of Gary Vee in my brain right now. He's like, if you start a new landscaping business, you go to everybody in your phone. We all have hundreds, if not thousands, of people in our phone. I started a new landscaping business. I mow the best lawn in the world. Do you know anybody who needs their grass cut? Who needs landscaping? You do that enough with enough intensity and action, and you're going to get clients, which leads into step 4 is taking massive action. Definitely, if I was starting over, I would be smarter. I would have more strategy, but execution beats strategy. Eat strategy for breakfast, I believe. So you want to have a good strategy, but again, taking massive action. So I'm a guy that's made a lot of mistakes, but somebody, maybe they're very accurate and they do 10 things and 8 out of those 10 things are successful. In the time frame they're doing 8 things, I'm doing 100 things, and maybe I'm only 20%, but I've 20 out of 100, but they've accomplished 8 things. I've accomplished 20 in the same time frame. So I'm a huge believer in massive action, and then I'm a believer in continuing with it. This would be step 5. Once you figure out what does work, which again, getting to $1 million. I mean, today here, I imagine you can relate to this. I don't know how big your company is, but I know you do success coaching and help a lot of people. I have 14 employees in my personal training studios, and they work with me on my online business. But, we're doing close to, just in the online coaching, my personal coaching that I do, making close to $1 million in revenue with very high profit margin, with just really me and a couple of people helping me out part-time. So my inspiration there is that you can get to $1 million business by yourself.
With a few people.
And that's, or a couple of people. And then it's, and you didn't ask this, maybe I'm jumping ahead, but that's not a lot of people think, man, I got to scale. I got to get to 50 million, 100 million. I got to be a billionaire. Maybe, most billionaires, and I know a few of them, I know a lot of multimillionaires, some of them are healthy and fit and have amazing relationships with their spouses and their kids. Man, you've hit with God. That's the jackpot. You should have it all. Most really, really rich people are unhealthy. They're deep down, they're unhappy. Their relationships are strained. Their health is definitely strained. And they have, even though they're making a lot of money and have stuff, they don't have time. So I lead a mastermind called Love Your Life. And it's all about
I love the name.
Very good name. Thank you. And it's, I'll tell you, it came. So when I won that contest, I knew that I was going to quit my job to be a fitness guy. But Love Your Life, I just started that mastermind, that portion last year, but it really was planted at 27 years old, 23 years ago, when I was leaving my corporate job. And I remember thinking, I got interviewed by a local newspaper, and they said, aren't you leave your job, right? I was making what I thought was a lot of money at the time. It was a lot of money at the time. And I was like, yeah, I'm scared, but I'm way more scared of waking up at 80 years old and wondering what if. And that's what most people, they go through a life, a job they hate, spending a ton of time, just making enough to pay the bills, try to save up enough to lower your standards and enjoy life one day. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, we get one life. You should live a life you love. And so that definition is different for everybody, but you need, number 1, your health, right? And number 2, you need money and freedom. The most important things, I believe, God, family, health, don't necessarily take money, although money helps. Family, money helps. When you've got money, you're less stressed, so that affects your health. But then when you have money, we live on an economic planet, so money gives you freedom and options. But it's also the freedom, because there's a lot of people that maybe they have their health, they have the money, but they have no time. And so that's what I believe in for me personally. Like, one of my goals is to become a billionaire. It's just a fun goal. It's not like I have to do it, but I'm not going to give up my health or my family or my relationships to do it.
My
to me,
time, absolutely. How much
to have an amazing life and have freedom?
Absolutely, 100%. When having a millionaire lifestyle, this is way more important than actually even having the million in the bank account. The point of that is that what's the point to you have a lot of money and then you don't have time and freedom, then you cannot look after your body. Lately, I'm playing a lot of tennis and doing a lot of walking, and but it changed. Before, I remember when I say 18 years ago, my first business, it was totally the opposite. Regardless that I I have a drive to make this business. You can see I'm still a little bit shabby because my body took a hit back then, and I have taken years to detox and to something that makes sense. I'm still working on the case, right? I remember that back in the day, if you work 12 hours in the office and you work 12 hours, 14 hours, you will arrive to the office and everybody, hey, you are the champion, amazing. How can you work that much? And then I remember I was waking up, starting my first business 6 a.m. No, 6 a.m. I need to be in the Hilton. So I had to wake up like 4 a.m. Yeah, and I arrived to the Hilton, then work as a room service in the attendant in the Hilton Hotel in London, Canary Wharf, and then after I need to run my business, my property business, and I was doing that parallel. Long story short, I was so tired, and I was have a huge eating disorder to the point that I always was having the meal only one at the end of the day. So waking up hungry, 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 hungry the whole day, and until it's 10 o'clock, I will I will restaurant. There was two restaurants, in one Chinese, one Indian, and I will call them, say I'm Harry, and they will say, okay, the food is on the way, because they knew they were following the numbers on the menu. So if I order tea today, they know if I call next time it's 31. So both restaurants have a mark. So it sounds to you very efficient in time. By mine, I'm not even looking what I'm eating, and I'm eating only very late in the evening. So this, regardless, that I don't know where I find the strength and the energy to grow the business, but parallel to that, I had to work double, because the way that was what I was eating definitely was not exercising, and bring a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. You're tired, you're angry, you're making money. I was, because the business was making money, but I'm waking up exhausted, tired, angry. So in order to build the company, you have to outperform. You need to have a lot of energy, because you have to work a lot of hats. And
That's right.
sometimes entrepreneurs make because we don't know any better, that let's put only, let's put look after our body, let's put 0% look after our health, and let's put 100% in the business, because we need to make this work. So what else for this broadcast? There are entrepreneurs, people that want to be entrepreneurs, and people that own medium size and large companies. We talk about this topic a lot, because from this podcast, we believe that entrepreneurs should be healthy, wealthy, and happy. So we talk about this subject. What message do you have for entrepreneurs today, starting a new company or running company, that not taking the health and the mental health and the well-being seriously, and putting all the time, effort, and energy only into make the business work?
Yeah, appreciate that, Harry. First of all, for people who you mentioned, people who are entrepreneurs, I'll definitely get to that. That's my main audience. But you mentioned people who want to be entrepreneurs. Is I would tell them to ask themselves, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? A lot of people, it's just like it's to be an entrepreneur. And a lot of people, they think it's going to make them rich and have all the time freedom they want. And, they realize, what do they say? You went from working 40 hours a week to 80 hours with a pay cut, right? At least in the beginning. And so, I always look at the end in mind. What do you want? And a lot of people are better off, being a number 2 or number 5 and number 10 within a company, and being what I call an entrepreneur. I mean, when you're an entrepreneur, you got all the risk. Everything falls on you, the financial risk, everything ultimately falls on you. And I've worked hard to create my business where I'm out of the operations, at least in the personal training studios, but still all the risk is on me. But I've set it up to where I have what I call entrepreneurs. They can make as much money as they want, as much growth as they want within my company without all the risk. And so that would be the first thing I say. But people who, you want to be an entrepreneur, you are an entrepreneur. And, the biggest excuse, what do you think it is, Harry, that they know they should take care of their body and health, but they don't because of what?
They say they don't have time.
Time, 100%. So the first thing is I flip that mindset. I ask them this question. If you had $1 billion piece of equipment in your company, would you run it 24/7, redline it, never do maintenance on it, and hope and pray it doesn't break down and continues to perform? Of course not. But as an entrepreneur, you are your most important asset. So it's not optional to have a fitness program, and it needs to be on your business plan. And then the reality is, and I've seen this with myself, with my clients, and research backs this up. When you are healthy and confident, you make people who are healthy and take care of their health make more money over their lifetime. Hundreds of thousands of dollars is what the studies, multiple studies show. And that's for a normal human being, making 60, 75,000 a year. So for entrepreneurs that are making more than that, we're talking about millions of dollars. So that usually gets their attention. Like, you're going to make more money long term, but then okay, yeah, I know long term, but I want immediate gratification. Okay, guess what? When you take care of yourself, and fair or not, people judge you how you look immediately. And if you're fit and healthy, they recognize that to discipline, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the workplace, even if you're on your journey right now, if you work out, you feel better, you've got that energy, you show up bright just like you do, and you have what I call that magnetic attraction. What?
I'm feeling amazing.
Yeah. See, and you have it, Harry, that magnetic attractiveness where people want to do business with you. So that's the first thing I would tell entrepreneurs, like, this isn't optional. This is going to help you. Yeah, it's going to help you, your health, which is way more important than money. I did a talk for a crypto group the other day, and I had them, the altcoin season is supposedly coming up this year. And, they're all excited about their altcoins, jumping up. And I said, okay, imagine it's January 1st and all your altcoins have gone to the moon. What's that number? And I had them put in the chat, like 50,000, 200,000, 2 million, 5 million. And I said, now 10x that number. And you get to keep that money, but there's one caveat. You don't get to wake up tomorrow. Who's going to take that deal? Nobody. And that's an extreme deal, but let's dial it back a little bit. You get to keep the money, but you have to have diabetes. Would you take it? Nobody took it. And they dial it back a little bit. Let's say you just have to have a throat for the rest of your life. Would you take the money? Nobody's taking it. So your health is more important than money. I think everybody knows that, but that's easier said than done. So when you can make that connection, that when you invest in your health, it's going to actually help you make more money and grow more business and attract great people into your life. That's the first step to really getting to do it. Then you have a strategy. I mean, again, when I won that contest in a natural bodybuilding area, I'm working out, 2 hours in the morning of weights, hour of cardio at night, 3 hours a day, eating every 2 hours, my Tupperware with chicken and broccoli, protein shakes, all that crap. And I lived that way a long time because I didn't care if my life revolved around working out and eating. But as I got older, we got married later in life. I've got 3 young kids. I want to be able to enjoy life. I want to be able to focus on my family and my business and doing things I love. So, I work out 3 to 4 times a week and I eat whatever I want. I do it in a systematic way, but that is the other big thing, making the commitment, but then finding a plan that's actually doable and sustainable to fit into your busy schedule.
Yeah, eating what you want. I think that what I find interesting about that, I have what we call an addiction to carbs, right? So meaning that my body is always craving for carbs, not sugar, but carbs, right? If I stop eating rice, I'm looking for a pizza. If I stop eating pizza, I'm looking for for bread. And if you remove the bread, then I'm looking for pasta. So my brain is always looking for the more sophisticated way to bring carbs, right? And it's interesting that since the last year, I stop eating carbs, right? I'm eating just very low carbs, and they are all natural from dry fruits and some things like this. And and the other day, can you believe that I ate a couple of slices of pizza and I was feeling so bad? I was like I had like kind of acid reflex because the organism, my body is not used to this type of food. So
yeah,
oh my God, I feel so bad when I cup and I'm like, wow, that these pizza that look so inoffensive. So I think that how you train your body also, and I had was in a family gathering and was pizza, so I'll take it like everybody else. But I was thinking the impact that, wow, that what kind of transformation body and my system had, that now it's kind of before it's craving and craving and craving, and now I'm taking it, and it's like the body is rejecting it, and make me even feel bad. So discipline, you talk about discipline because that is one of the most important factors. Um, do we really need to be eating whatever we want, or shall we train our body as an entrepreneurs because we have to outperform, or shall we train our body to take food just as amazing and just bring good food to us, so can perform better? We have more energy. A lot of people talk about energy. You know, you need to perform in a business. You have a lot of energy, and people think that if you eat more, you're gonna have more energy. It doesn't really work like that, right?
Yeah.
Opposite.
So that's a really interesting question, Harry. So, my I love
Oh,
carbs.
me too.
Carbs are good.
Whoa, you can see me. Yeah, let's don't
So
go there because
yeah, I'm straight up
and
with
in
that because a lot of
restaurants.
people,
Yeah,
and they think, oh, it's just easy for you. You like
yeah.
all healthy food. No, I've won pizza eating contests before, Harry. We'll just leave it at that. I love
Goodness.
it all. If I ate everything I wanted, much of everything I wanted, I'd be 400 pounds. And so it's taken a lot. I
Me
probably have a
too.
food. Yeah, I probably have an undiagnosed, food disorder, eating disorder. And so for me, I'll tell my story, answer the question is when I got into natural bodybuilding, it was all about eating super clean, healthy foods, which by the way is debatable, right? It's
Yeah,
like
exactly. What is
used to be
healthy?
you'll kill you, vegetables, only eat fruits
Yeah.
and vegetables, forks over knives. Now the meat people are fighting back, vegetables will kill you. You should
Uh,
only eat meat and eggs, right? It's
and people
confusing,
and
first
people
of all.
say no carbs. Of course, the body needs carbs. The body needs
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did the whole very, very strict thing. And then I had one day where I would do my cheat meal, the traditional cheat meal,
I'm
which
doing
ended up
that.
being
I'm doing that now. Sundays.
it ended up being a
Sundays I go
full day
crazy.
of you do or don't go crazy.
So on Sunday I go crazy. I eat
Yeah.
whatever
See,
I
I did
want. No
too.
headache.
I went crazy and, because I was the only chance to get everything in. But my standard, Harry, was I had to have a 6-pack. So during the week, I would
Oh
undereat
wow.
dramatically and do tons of cardio. So I felt like crap because I was under eating so much. And then the weekends I felt like crap because I was eating a bunch of crap. So I looked great with a 6-pack and I felt like crap all the time. And I was
Oh
like, this is
wow.
stupid.
That's interesting.
And so the technical best answer is we don't need any junk food. We need
I agree
whole
with
food
you.
all the time. For me personally, and for most people, I think it's unrealistic to never have a
I
piece of pizza
agree.
again, never have some ice cream, never have things. So one of the best things I did for myself, and again, if you're somebody that's mentally strong enough and you can create that connection where food is just fuel, I'm never going to eat that stuff again. Anything cool. That's the
It's like a
best.
medicine.
I'll tell you, I know 3 people that do that. 2 of them are lying. And one of them is probably going to live longer than all of us because he really never eats any junk food. But most people, this is one of, and
Wow.
if you go to my social media, you'll see me eating pizza and ice cream, that kind of stuff. And I do it to make a point of being transparent. Most fitness people, I think it's one of the worst things they've done in the industry is they display that all they ever do is eat perfect whole food. They airbrush their abs, and if you're eating
It's
anything
not
wrong,
realistic.
then you're in trouble.
It's not
And
realistic.
what they're not showing you is that's what they're doing 80% of the time. All these
Mhm.
guys and ladies, they're eating the fun stuff. They're not showing you. And
Yeah.
so I'm a big believer, Harry, in the 80-20 rule. So one of the most, freeing things I ever did for myself was stop labeling foods good or bad. Stop saying I can't have something because if you can't have it, you can't have it. You get it and you overindulge. You go
Mhm.
crazy. So for me personally now, and it doesn't mean, so I can eat whatever I want every day. It doesn't mean I gorge myself with a bunch of unhealthy food because I honor my body. I have goals, but I eat a little bit of dessert every day because I love dessert. And guess what? If I'm able to, I'm doing a corporate program right now, corporate wellness program with a company. And Helene, one of the girls in the group, she has these little chocolates that she loves, and she ate like 5 of them, and it was like, she felt bad. I'm so sorry I ate the chocolate. And I said, well, how many are in each one? And she's like, 70 calories. I said, Helene, you can have 3 of those every night. That's only 200 calories out of your, 1,500 you're eating every day. You can eat that every single night and still reach your goals. And she did eat that, and she reached her goals. So the point isn't that chocolate is amazing for you. It's a decent choice, actually, dark chocolate, if you're going to have a treat. But the point is, how much more likely do you think Helene is to stick to her eating plan if she can have chocolate every single night versus you can't have this? So that's one of the best things I ever did for myself. And now if I can eat a little dessert every day, I'm not like coming around to the weekends and like, oh, I got to have it because there's nothing I'm deprived of. So I'm a big believer in fitting things in, the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time eat the healthy, nutritious food, 20% of the time eat what you want without labeling it good or bad. But you do have to do it within parameters, because if you eat too much, and that's the biggest thing. Everybody talks about the what to eat and the when to eat. But the biggest problem is the how much. We eat too much food. So
the amount.
Control the amount. You get enough protein to build lean muscle. We could get into that if you want to talk about why that's important. And then you eat mostly whole, healthy food with a little bit of fun food. That's a plan. You can look great, feel great, and most importantly, and be healthy. It's sustainable for the rest of your life. And, if you can't do your eating plan forever, it's not a good plan. And that's my biggest problem with keto, no carb. It'll work. 100% it'll work. But my question to people is, how realistic is it to eat a carbohydrate again?
And
if
also
that's realistic, cool. It's a good plan. If it's not, it's probably not.
You have your health also. So having energy and performing is a topic that every listeners, they are body that is in business, that is an entrepreneur, they all want more energy. And this is what I'm doing, Ross, that's working for me fantastic, which is the following. When I'm working, when I need to be on point, I eat healthy, and sometimes I don't even eat. I fast, and I train my body like this, and I'm okay with it. It's not like I'm hungry. Today, for example, is my podcast days. I have several interviews today, and I'm just drinking green tea, and I'm okay with it. Or if I'm eating, if I need to eat something, it's healthy. And then when I'm resting, when I'm not working, when hold on, when I go to play tennis and dance or whatever, because the body is I'm exercise. So the only days that I just relax is social commitments, right? A lot of people when they invite me to dinner, when it's the birthday of someone, when it's Sunday and I'm gonna watch a movie, then I treat myself, right? But at the end of the day, this day I'm not working. I'm just resting, switching off, and why not gratify yourself with with the burger or a meal that you take. And let me tell you something, I'm enjoying more the healthy food, and I'm enjoying more the the bad food one day that if you have it every day, to the point that my body cannot take more than one day the thing anyway, because it's giving me out reflex and things like this. So the secret is to train your body, like you described, in a realistic way. And I'm glad that then your social media, you show yourself eating pizza, and because this is how reality looks like, right? Because if you, a lot of people have this effect yo-yo, they go up and down, up and down, up and down.
That's right.
And it's because, they stress the body so much without eating certain things, and then when they give up, they come back, and it comes really quickly. The other question, Rose, I want to ask you, a lot of entrepreneurs in this podcast, they have shared the story that how they started the business was not by accident. They start to solve a problem for themselves, and they have a massive breakthrough, and then they go out there and solve the problem for other people. This is how I started my first business. I solved the problem for myself when I was in my property business. Rent was too expensive. I was looking for ways to don't pay the rent, so I rent the house and I rent it by units. And there I was. My rent was off, and wow, that's amazing. If I can keep doing this, then I can build the business and also solve the problem for other people and give them a great accommodation. So how was the transition from you when you had the breakthrough from yourself, that even you moved from corporate to being an entrepreneur? A lot of people listen to this broadcast is exactly in this, in trying to transition, because they are exactly as you described, cash rich and time poor, and they want to move to entrepreneurial life. So tell us, what is the good, the bad, and the ugly of moving from corporate to the entrepreneurial lifestyle, and also your transition between how you solve the problem for yourself, and then you decide also to solve it for other people.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting with that. I mean, that's exactly what happened to me. You know, Ed Milet, who I think is awesome, he talks about how you're most equipped to help the person you used to be. And so, you know, I was, when I got into my body, I was helping the person that, you know, wanted to be fit and get shredded. You know, as I've evolved and gotten older, I'm now helping. I work with, you know, different ages, but mostly with men and women, you know, in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, you know, that are moms, that are dads, that are either business owners or executives, and they know they need to be fit and healthy, but they need to do it in a way that is sustainable and fits into their lifestyle, and they really want to have it all in life. So I do believe that, you know, and especially with the internet, you know, the information or the coaching business, you know, I spent an entire year creating Body Transformation University, which is my online platform, in 2018. And it took a whole year to create it. And then I started my coaching program. You know, if I'm mentoring someone now, yeah, online platforms are cool, but I would go straight into coaching. Like literally, you can find 3 people. I have a client, Valerie, and she has lymphedema, which makes it, you know, her
Wow.
weight can fluctuate 50 pounds within a couple of hours. Crazy. And she's got all kinds of health issues. She's done amazing, completely changed. I mean, she
Wow.
was stuck in her house. Now she's walking in the neighborhood. She's driving, you know, which may seem like basic things, but this is life changing for her. And so we're talking, I'm mentoring her now on starting and she said this is the first thing, you know, working with me that's ever worked for her. She's been in all these different groups. And so now she can go help women who used to be
100%.
in the situation she was in a few years ago and create a business around that. So I 100% think that's a great thing to help people that are like you or how you used to be. In terms of the transition, I mean, I did it, you know, I think, I don't know, pros and cons, risks to everything, you know, but again, for me, it was like I was willing to take the risk instead of wondering what if. But I did do it at your age. I mean, it's different. If I was working for a company now, you know, with 3 kids in private school and responsibilities and high bills, it would be a lot harder to make the transition full time. Now I was 28, you know, I had some money saved up. My living expenses were nothing. So, you know, it was a risk, but you know, it was the right fit, which is why I believe, like, if you're young in your early 20s, man, you know, even late 20s or teen, like that's the time to go for it. You can always go back and get a corporate job if you don't like it or it doesn't work out. If you are older and you want to make the transition, I mean, again, you can burn the boats and the bridges and just go for it. But I mean, if you have kids and financial responsibility, you know, you don't have to make a clean jump. You can keep your full-time job. And if you do that, I believe you still give your company your absolute best. And then you spend an hour either in the morning or every single night working on your side business, working on it. And an hour may not sound, you can spend more than that, but an hour a day, like one of the things I talk about in my coaching business is consistency is more important than frequency, you know, or volume. So if you're consistently on building your business every day for an hour, then you can build that up. And then once you, and you know, this is, I don't know, I think I heard this from Jim Rohn, but you know, once you get to where your side business is making as much as your job, you know, you could quit your job at a point. He says don't quit it. He says to wait until you're doubling, you know, what you're making on your job and then to quit it. But, you know, anybody can do it, whether you go for it clean break or whether you know, do it gradually. We have so much time. Like, it's the biggest excuse. We have time for what is important to us. You know, average American watches, I think it's like 4 or 5 hours of TV a day. I heard that. Sounds like, I can't believe that. But I believe people, if they're not watching TV, they're scrolling that much, you know, on social media. So we have time for what's important to us.
Yeah. And the impact on your health. Remember, everyone that listening to the podcast, what's the point to have a lot of millions if you are not healthy, if you cannot enjoy it? That
100%.
what's the point? Or if bad relationship with your family, your friends, your children, what's the point? So at the end of the day, and it's shocking, Ross. The other thing, a friend of mine, she's a nurse, was making a comment that when people get overweight like that, even the nurse, the people don't want to do the job because it's not easy to handle it. The people are heavy, so need the crane. And you know, if you pay to go and look after a patient that is not that is normal, and to look after an overweight patient, right? who do you think everybody gonna the nurse they're gonna choose? They someone that they can easily handle it. Whether somebody that is overweight, then you need a crane. It's more work, and it's not like they're gonna pay
That's
more
right.
the nurse for deal with that. So somehow these kind of right, it having also huge impact because these people little by little somehow they're being left over, right? It's not gonna be it's not to me that that they're gonna say, okay, you know, guys, because it's more difficult to treat this patient because it's overweight, we're gonna pay more to the nurse, we're gonna pay more to the doctor, but I'm gonna pay the same to all of them. So this is an extra. I was not aware of this issue. It just came to my attention like 2 3 days ago in a
Yeah.
conversation with a friend. And also when you go and buy the food, right, the if you go to any supermarket, you see 85% of the food displayed there, or 80%, exactly 80/20 that you described very well, is food that is no good for you, right? And when sometime when I buying this food, yeah, I having a lot of how you call it, celery juice to detox my liver, to remove fat around the liver, so the body detox. So imagine you have to do celery juice, you need a lot of celeries, right? And then the when I'll buy the supermarket, the people are looking at me so strange because all you see is vegetables and green and this and that, and it looks out of the ordinary until I got the feeling that everybody's looking at me and saying like, this guy's crazy. Why is he eating this thing, celery, who wants that, and why so many, so I think that in United Kingdom, London, we have made progress with this, not too much, but I think I saw, right, that for example, Coca-Cola normal one and is in the supermarket is now, let's say, 250, where those on the same Coca-Cola doesn't have sugar, is considerably. So clearly the government are putting a heavy tax the same way that they did to cigarettes to sugar, and the consumer see on the price, and you say, what's the point to spend more? Let me get this on that. So what do you think, what is the last message, what do you think that we can go that we can do as a community? Because I think that this issue on health, despite that you make your mission to help as much people as possible, what do you think that can be done in the support of the government, the education, the educate the need? There is another as well with organic food and the healthy food that sometimes is misleading and sometimes and most of the time is expensive. You have to know to look
Yeah.
properly what you're doing in order to buy something good. So how do you think that we can that can be done in order to learn about this topic in general?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there is now, and I think there's some, hopefully some good things going on in identifying like a bunch of this, chemicals and crap that's in our food that shouldn't be there, that's not in other countries, right? I mean, you look at, so in the U.S., you got Lucky, and then you have Lucky Charms in the U.K. Your Lucky Charms ingredients is this much, not a health food, get me wrong, but our Lucky Charms ingredients is twice as much. Like, why is that? That's definitely
I
a problem.
noticed.
I still will die on the sword that exercise. I saw this the other day on a TikTok from a doctor. I thought awesome. Exercise is better for you than anything bad for you is bad for you. So many people are focused on, don't eat this, don't eat a seed oil. You're going to die if you have a, Diet Coke or sugar-free gum. Again, I'm not saying that stuff is good for you, but focus on the basics. Consistent exercise is really, really good for you. And then controlling the amount of food. The biggest problem is obesity. We have too much fat. That increases your risk of heart disease, cancer, stroke, diabetes, all that stuff. So, controlling your calories, controlling your weight, and exercising is the most important thing. But I do think that, getting some of this crap out of our food that doesn't need to be there is a big deal. But also whether it's there or not, taking personal responsibility. I saw something online the other day. See, I'm watching too much social media. And, this girl was talking about how, what is it? Crumble cookie is evil and it's killing, Americans. Like, I mean, yeah, they're big, giant cookies, and they don't have great stuff in them. But what about if somebody eats 20 Oreos, right? Why isn't Oreos killing everybody? So people like after like the big giants, and at the same time, nobody's forcing a crumble cookie down your throat. Like we need to make grown up choices, for ourselves. But I believe the biggest thing we can do. I'm a big believer in action versus words. There's a lot of people talking, but you
And
can
lead
be
by
an
example.
you can be an example for other people, just like you, Harry. I mean,
look how you look with 50 years old. Amazing.
yeah,
It's very
absolutely,
difficult
brother.
to find someone with 50 years old in United States that look like you. It's a challenge to go out there. And the other day, a friend when I play tennis, he was like 56. He's like 56 and he's very fit. And I'm saying, man, congratulations. Have a lot of discipline because very difficult to find people over 50 that look like no, I'm not 50 yet. So my goal is when I get 50, I'm 48. When I get 50, get as close as you as possible.
Well, keep working at it, and that's my point.
I'm working on the case.
I know you are. I can see all your pictures in the background. Your face is considerably
you
thinner.
saw. Look behind.
I can see
how
it,
fat
man.
I was.
I'm big on transparency, dude. People
Yeah.
say stuff, but I can see the proof
You
because
can
I can see what you
behind
used
the
to look
screen.
like and what you look like
not
now.
Too long enough. Yeah. Thank you.
And as you continue on your health journey, Harry, you're going to inspire people. Hey, look, this is me. I did it. Guess what? You can do it too. That's what I think makes the biggest impact, is leading by example.
Thank you so much, Ross. And we can be talking about this for hours. I'm a big fan of the topic, by the way, because I am the proof example of one, right? And I was so wrong. I just didn't know any better. That starting my first business 18 years ago, all that I was thinking of is to make that thing work and make sure that makes money and make sure that everything is okay. But in that path, I didn't take care of my health. I didn't take care of my body. I didn't take care of even my mental health. And has been a long journey of discovering 20 years now after being in business. I'm feeling better than ever, to be honest with you, in terms of how I feel, what I'm eating, and drop. I think it was 30, yeah, in the last 6 to 8 months. Yeah, I've been I reduce and I'm feeling better, and also sometimes not even reducing the pounds. The thing is that my body, I know, is changing because the is becoming a more, the muscular mass is in, right. And sometimes you see the scale and people get frustrated. Oh, I'm not losing. Well, hold on. Sometimes it's not even the point to lose weight. Sometimes, how about transformation your body, that all you increase your muscular mass and for my case, I have a lot of fat at the organs, a lot, that I have to easy start to detox, and easy to, and no muscular mass. Everything was fat, so I had to increase muscular mass and also drop the fat. To that, now I can see some of the bones in my belly, something that never happened before in the last 20 years. So
that's awesome. Well, keep going, man. The more
thank you so much
too much fat on your organs, is risky. But the more muscle mass you have, the longer the likelihood you're going to live. Like shown, the two major indicators of longevity is VO2 max, cardiovascular health. Most people know that.
Yeah, no, every day you learn
muscle
something.
Mass is good. And every pound of muscle that you add, Harry, burns an extra 20 to 50 calories a day, depending on your metabolism. So it actually is your best fat burning exercise. So
I have Ross a special scale. I have a special scale, Rods, that tell me the muscular mass and the body fat and everything. It has sensors at the bottom. So I'm keeping an eye. I'm measuring this consistently. Make sure that increase them as much as I can, the muscular mass. So thank you so much for you to come to the broadcast. I did learn something from you, big time. Yeah, you always learn something. Yeah, and and for all of you following the broadcast entrepreneurs, see you in our next episode. How brave entrepreneur like Ross make the first million. And remember, before you start your company, before you start that idea you want to achieve, Make sure that you get fit first. Make sure that you have healthy eating habits. Make sure that you exercise. Make sure that you do the principles of all what we covered today. You need help, you can contact Ross. Ross, how people can find you if they're in love with the conversation? How can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me at on my website, russyeager.com, RussYeager, or on social media, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn.
Very good. So if you need help, yeah, and you don't know where to start, you can contact Ross, but make sure that you put that in place before you start the company, because this company is going to demand 10 times, 100 times more energy than what you're expecting. The first business that you're going to have, this I can guarantee you. And if you are fit, if you're healthy, you energy, you're going to perform better. So that's all for me, and see you guys in our next episode. Bye for now.
All right.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.